Hello, everyone. We are back. Welcome to the Monday episode of Daily Betslip. We got a Monday night football game tonight, the Rams and the 49ers, and I am joined by a very special guest today, Erin Hawksworth, at Erin Hawksworth on Twitter. You can find her on BetQL Daily, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. Erin, right off the top, I want to know your initial reaction to Week 4 of the NFL, specifically, who's good in the NFC? Because the Eagles are 4-0, and then we don't really know who's good after them. The Buccaneers lost again. The Packers look a little bit iffy. The Rams, we'll see tonight, kind of how legit they are. Who's good in this conference?
That is such a good question, because even when you look at the odds, it's the Eagles and then there's some teams just bunched together. I think it's a great question. Right now, it's a tough question because I really don't trust the Packers or the Bucks, but I would say the Packers slightly over the Bucks, and it's very, very close to me. But this Bucks team, it just has some bad vibes. The injuries, they had the best defense, but we certainly didn't see that last night. You can't give up 41 points at home to the Chiefs on national television. And then there's all this mysterious stuff with Brady, what's going on in his personal life. Doesn't it just feel like this isn't their year? And then with the Packers, it has not been pretty. I mean, this isn't the Packers team we saw last year. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is winning the MVP for a third time, but I mean, I just think that there is some stability, and even if it's not always pretty, I just trust the Packers a little bit more at this point in the season. But again, this is a tough one. It's the Eagles and everybody else, isn't it?
It seems to be that way, especially you mentioned Tom Brady. It seems like this might finally be the season that we've been waiting for the past 10 years, where Tom Brady finally takes a step back. I will say, I mean, he did throw for over 300 yards last night, but maybe they're not quite the same Buccaneers team we saw in the past couple of years, and I especially hope that's the case because they play my Falcons this Sunday, and if the Falcons pull off the upset, we're in first place in the NFC South. No big deal.
I love it. I love it. We're a Falcon show on BetQL Daily. We've got the futures. We're all in on the Falcons, so I'm with you there.
I love it. Good teams win, great teams cover. The Falcons, the only 4-0 team against the spread through the first 4 weeks. Gives me a little bit of hope for my squad. We are obviously going to talk about Monday Night Football tonight between the Rams and the 49ers here in a few minutes. If you're watching this, be sure to vote in the poll on YouTube. And I think the poll should still be live on Twitter as well for what your best bet is. And at the end of the show, when I have Peter Dewey on, we'll reveal who the BetSided community best bet is for tonight. But before we get into Monday Night Football, Erin, I do need your help with something because I asked you to come on the show, and you said you will come on the show if I commit to another tattoo bet. I initially said no, but I've kind of reversed on that because if people don't, so I am going to lock in my tattoo bet today. If people don't know, back in the start of March Madness tournament, I said if Arkansas made the Final Four, I was going to get an Arkansas tattoo. I came on your BetQL show and talked about it on there, and they came close. They came close. One game away from me having to get a Razorback tattoo, and I was going to get it. So I will do a tattoo bet again for the NFL season. I'm going to help you decide what team it is going to be for me. The small caveat, I don't want to do it on an actual good team, so I've narrowed down. I think I got 5-6 teams on my list that are either 2-2, 1-3-1 team. I'll let you choose which team it is, and if that team wins the Super Bowl, I'll get a tattoo of their logo. How does that sound?
Sounds fantastic.
All right. I mean, these are great teams. So I'm going to list them off. You tell me which team is going to be my tattut bet team. You got the New York
Jets. I didn't expect this. I feel a little pressure. I know. I mean, a part of me doesn't want you to have to get this either. Like, you come on our show all the time. I feel like we're friends now, and I'm like, oh man, if you actually have to get one, I might feel a little bad.
I didn't pick great teams. If one of these teams win the Super Bowl, there's probably other issues that we got to worry about other than me getting a tattoo. So I'll list them off, and you tell me which team's going to be my tattoo team. I got the New York Jets, the Tennessee Titans, the Denver Broncos, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Arizona Cardinals, or the New York Giants. Those are the teams I've narrowed it down to. You pick which one of those 6 teams is going to be my tattoo bet team. Jets, Titans, Broncos, Jaguars, Cardinals, or Giants?
We're going Jaguars.
Jaguars, okay.
Doug Peterson. I mean, out of all those teams, I got to fade Russ a little bit. I don't know if they're going to – their head coach is yeah, not going to cut it. I don't see them going to the Super Bowl. Jets, Titans, Giants are out. Giants are fraudulent. They're not doing anything. Let's go Jags. Long shot. Trevor Lawrence, you never know. I mean, he had a lot of turnovers, but if he can clean that up and continue to take some step forward, the Jags looked really good so far this season.
And I will say, out of those teams I listed, Jaguars probably the most likely to win their division and get in the playoffs that way, because AFC South not looking good. Even though the Jaguars lost, they're still the favorites to win the division as of this morning. So Jags or Titans on that list were two teams that, I mean, one of those are going to win the AFC South, because it's certainly not the Colts, who I bet on to win the Super Bowl ahead of the season, and they're back.
Yes.
All right, so there it is. Lock it in. If the Jacksonville Jaguars win the Super Bowl, I'll get a Jags tattoo. There it is.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to tell Joe Ostrowski. He's going to be excited.
Yeah. I'm feeling nervous already. I'm starting to regret it already, but we'll see.
It's not going to happen.
No,
Come
it's
on.
not going to happen.
A lot would have to happen.
A lot would have to happen.
The Jags.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to my favorite segment, Choose Your Future. I'm just going to list a few different teams that have similar odds. And you just tell me which of the two teams you would rather bet on to cash in that future for you. Your answer can be quick, just a sentence, or you can dive into it a little bit deeper. So we're sticking to the NFL here, and we're going to start off with some Super Bowl futures. Who would you rather bet on to win the Super Bowl, the Green Bay Packers or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And you kind of answered this a little bit earlier, but both at 10-1.
Yeah, so kind of, on the heels of what I just said, I'd go Packers 10-1. I just don't trust this Bucs team. It's just they're injury plagued. It's contagious. There's issues with Tom Brady and his personal life. I just don't think this is their year. Packers, if you look at their schedule, I mean, they could go on a run. So at 10-1, I don't hate it, especially with there not being much competition in the NFC like there is in the AFC.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think the Buccaneeither are kind of regressing.
Or maybe I just have Tom Brady fatigue.
Yeah, I've had Tom Brady fatigue for 10 years. I'm sick of him.
You either love him or you're ready for something else. I'm ready for something else.
The first football game I ever watched was his first Super Bowl win. So literally my entire life as an NFL fan has started from the start of Tom Brady's career until now. I've never experienced an NFL season without Tom Brady. I'm ready for him to leave.
You're ready for a change.
Yes, exactly. Let's move on to a couple teams a little bit further down the odds list here. Who would you rather bet on to win the Super Bowl? The Minnesota Vikings at 21-1 or the Cincinnati Bengals at 22-1?
I did bet the Vikings like 50-1 before the season, but the Bengals have been there before. The last 2 weeks with this Vikings team, it has been sweaty coming down to the wire. As a show, we had the Vikings in Survivor, and it was like, oh my gosh, wake up, drink some coffee, and that was scary. So, they find ways to get it done, but I just can't. I can't do it with Kirk Cousins right now. I mean, I think the Bengals, they're going to get things together. I trust Joe Burrow. So let's go with the Bengals 22-1.
I mean, Kirk Cousins has that cloud hanging over him of how he performs in prime time. Imagine Kirk Cousins in a Super Bowl. Like, that's the prime time of prime times. That would be ugly.
Right? I wonder what would happen because of when that game starts. We decided that it's a small sample size, but Kirk Cousins is a morning guy. He wins in London.
Interesting. That is a good point.
It's a new narrative we're putting out there.
All right, let's move on to a couple teams even further down the odds list here. Miami Dolphins or Los Angeles Chargers, both at 23-1.
This is a tough one. I mean, they both have banged up quarterbacks right now. The Tua situation, everything about this is not a good look for the Dolphins. I mean, he can't. I mean, it would be bad if he played this week, but maybe they'll overcome it. I mean, perhaps the concussion situation isn't as bad. And I mean, this Dolphins team was impressive. I mean, I was a little bit of a Tua hater. I like Mike McDaniel like everyone else. And now it's kind of like my judgment is clouded with the way they handled the Tua situation. It was just really scary to see the way he reacted on the field. But, if he's okay and is cleared and they get things going, it would be a heck of a story too. So I'll do the Dolphins 23-1. The Chargers just can't have nice things. I mean, on paper, there's all this hype and then just things fall apart. It happens every year. So let's go with Dolphins 23-1.
That even happened back in the day with Phillip Rivers and LaDainian Tomlinson. They're like a cursed franchise.
They're cursed.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, now we're going to go to some long shots here, and I'm going to give you 3 options here. And maybe this is going to be the same answer as your tattoo bet, because 3 AFC South teams all have the same odds to win the Super Bowl. They all stink. Colts were my preseason pick. They've completely let me down. Jaguars, Titans, or Colts. Best bet to win the Super Bowl of the 3. Are you sticking with the Jaguars, same as the tattoo bet?
Of course, we have to keep things consistent, and we need you to get a tattoo. So, do you have any tattoos, by the way?
I have 0 tattoos. So if the Razorbacks beat, who was it, Duke in the Elite 8? Razorback 2.
I don't remember.
I think it was Duke. A Razorback 2 tattoo is going to be my first one ever. So
I mean, I think that is way better than a Jags tattoo. But if we have to settle, I'll be happy. Jags, Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, we were expecting big things from Trevor Lawrence. He got put into a terrible situation with Urban Meyer last season. Now got a fresh start. It seems like things have been working out very well. So out of those 3, I trust the Jags the most.
I agree. And as a Falcons fan, I unfortunately need to admit that Matt Ryan is officially washed. It's over. Just let him retire. It's getting bad out there. Let's switch one more. We're going to go to NFL MVP, though, and this one's interesting because, honestly, I don't know what my answer for this one would be. Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts, both at plus 550 to win NFL MVP.
So this one was also – you gave me some tough ones, like really tough to decide on these. There wasn't one where I was like, yes. But this one, I was just telling you, I'm kind of a Ravens fan, so I'm going the other way. Jalen Hurts. Lamar's already won it, and there is so much buzz over this Eagles team. And I think it would just be really exciting that their schedule really sets up for them to do something special. So it's Jalen Hurts for me. I think even if Lamar carries this team, there's so many holes. Their defense isn't playing well. They've got issues with the Eagles. It's hard. Like, you've really got to dig to find issues. Oh, they have trouble scoring in the second half. If this is what we're looking for a problem, then that means there's probably a pretty good team. And they really haven't had to score in the second half in a couple of these games anyway. So Jalen Hurts, plus 550. I love it for NFL MVP.
I think I agree as well, mainly because of the point you said about the schedule. They've won the easiest schedules left in the NFL this year. So certainly stacks up better for Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. Let's talk about tonight's Monday Night Football game, Rams and 49ers. I'm interested to get your opinion on this because Jimmy G obviously is getting now his third straight game he's had to play in since Trey Lance went down. Do you think the 49ers are better with Jimmy G, or do you think they were better off with Trey Lance before he got hurt?
I've been a Jimmy G supporter, and I kind of feel alone, but I just feel like he's got a really bad deal. I mean, he took his team to a Super Bowl, and they want to get rid of him, and they put all this stock into a guy that it's such a small sample size. Nobody really knows what they have in Trey Lance. And I just feel like maybe I like a good underdog story or a chip on my shoulder type of story, but look, Jimmy G deserves this opportunity. And I trust him. I mean, is he an elite quarterback? No, but I don't think he's going to necessarily lose you games. He's just, average, and that's fine. They have a really good defense. So I think Jimmy G is an upgrade.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think a lot of people hate on Jimmy G. I don't think he's that bad of a quarterback. He's made a throw and a couple of bad interceptions in bad spots, but overall, let's not forget this is a guy who led the NFL in yards per completion last year. He's a solid quarterback. I thought it was strange that they went with Trey Lance at the start of the season because I think he might have a higher ceiling down the road, but the 49ers are kind of built to win now. They're kind of like a win now team. So I always thought Jimmy G was the better fit for them this season at least.
And even you look at Trent Williams, he's injured, he's older, he can't even stay healthy. And, they need him on that offensive line. Like you said, they are built to win now. So they've got to figure that out.
All right, let's move right forward to your best bets for tonight. Let's start. I'm going to get one side and a prop from you. So let's start with your best bet in terms of the side. Are you backing the 49ers tonight, or do you like the Rams?
I think the Niners are the right side here. You could look money line. I know this just moved to -2 in some places. So either way, I'm confident that the Niners will cover, but you could look for like a -120 money line or shop around. The 49ers allow just 3.9 yards per play. They're the number 1 defense in the league in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback without blitzing. And on the flip side, the Rams rank 31st. So the Niners should be able to find some success against the Rams and a lack of pass rush. The Niners also 11-3 ATS in their last 14 games in this series. Kyle Shanahan 8-3 ATS, 7-4 straight up against Sean McVay. Is that a trend or truth? I think it's truth. I think Kyle Shanahan has the upper hand, and I think that is going to continue tonight.
I love it. I'm on the same side. What about prop bet that you're looking at for tonight?
What prop bet am I not looking at? Question.
It's a Monday Night Football tradition for me just to fire off on as many props
exactly. I end up having way too many. So this is just an autoplay for me. We talked about Jimmy G interceptions. What about Matthew Stafford? INT. I mean, in the first few weeks, he's got 3 interceptions the second week, 1 the first week, 0 last week, which just means he's due this week. It was 1:15 this morning, so if you are going to bet on these primetime games, you want to bet these early. The longer you wait, you're just not going to get the same kind of value. So I saw -130 out there. So that's why I'm like, I don't feel great about giving that kind of a number out. If you think Garoppolo is going to throw an interception, there is better value there. But what I love is Cooper Kupp. Even against like the Bills and really good defenses, this dude gets the ball and he can put up some yards. So Cooper Kupp receptions made over 8.5 is intriguing. He went over that the first 2 weeks with 8 and 11 receptions. And then last season, he also, in all 3 matchups, he went over that as well. So I like that. And then, gosh, I think over 93.5. If there's still a 93.5 for his receiving yards out there, if not, I saw a 95.5. Again, bet on this stuff early if you like something, but I think he can go over that. He had a little bit of a dud game last week, only 44 yards. So that's why I'm wondering if we are seeing a little bit of a lower number, because we know he can clear that. So maybe you're just getting better value there with even 95.5. I think he can go over that.
And I believe he went over that total all 3 games last year against the 49ers as well.
I had it down here somewhere.
I think got over 100 in all 3.
Yes, he did. So, I mean, I think that's a good play. Niners on the side, or you could look at money line and then Cooper Kupp and then a Matthew Stafford interception.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, Erin, thank you so much for joining me today. Tell the people where the best place is to find your work.
Yeah, so BetQL Daily, 9 to noon Eastern, me and the Joes. You can find us in almost every major city on the radio. And also wherever you download your podcast, you can find us there. We're also on Twitch and Spotify, so be sure to check us out.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Best of luck with your bets tonight, Erin, and I'll talk to you again soon. And yeah, maybe I'll be getting a Jaguars tattoo. We'll see. Coming up next, Peter Dewey joining me. He's going to give us his best bets for tonight's action. I will also be diving into my best bets for tonight, and I believe Peter is here. Peter, hello.
What's going on, man? How we doing?
Good. Happy Mean Girls Day.
Is that what today is? Is that a holiday today? Mean Girls
yeah.
Day?
Are you a fan of the movie Mean Girls?
I have seen it before. I did. So this is the day it came out, I'm guessing?
No, I thought this was a common thing. Erin didn't know about it either. Yeah, there's a line in the movie when Lindsay Lohan asks the guy, what date is it? And he says it's October 3rd. So now October 3rd is Mean Girls.
Yes. That's right. That's right. Honestly, I would have not known that off the top of my head. So that's good on you.
Ben Heisler chimes in the chat, says Mean Girls was based off my high school. That is a wild story. I'll have to get that story when Ben is on the show. I think I'm on the show with him tomorrow. I'll have to get that story because huge Mean Girls fan. Lindsay Lohan was my first celebrity crush. As a young Ian, loved some Lindsay Lohan. So there you have it. Ben is on Wednesday this week, so I will get that full scoop with Ben because that seemed like a wild story. All right, let's talk some best bets. We're going to start off with community picks, and then we are going to give out our best bets for tonight. It's not just football that we're betting on tonight, my friend. I got a baseball bet for tonight. You also have a NBA preseason best bet.
We're back, baby.
When does the regular season start?
October 18th. This first game.
October 18th. There you go. NHL regular season starts this Friday, so we're getting back into it. We're getting back into the part of the sports calendar that is just everything is happening all at once.
Yeah.
I love it.
Crazy.
All right, let's dive into some community picks. I believe we just have 3 for today's show, so let's go ahead and bring up the first one. Bets in bow ties at CheeseGrader23. Deebo Samuel's over 57.5 receiving yards, minus 114 for the 49ers. Peter, any thoughts on Deebo Samuel's tonight?
Yeah, I'm hoping Deebo has a bad game tonight because I am facing him in fantasy, and if he gets 9 points, I'm going to lose. So I'm hoping he has a bad game. But you look at his numbers this year, he's going to probably clear this number, I think, especially in a game that could be a little bit up tempo. With the Rams, they tried to get last week. I believe he had 75 receiving yards against the Broncos. So they're going to try and get him the ball as much as possible, especially with the running back questions there. Even if they're not going to hand it off to Deebo, I feel like just short passes to him and Brandon Ayuk might be their best chance at moving the ball against this defense. So I don't mind any over for him. I think Jimmy G gets him the ball pretty often tonight.
Yeah, I was actually looking at a prop. I think it was over the weekend. I was looking at it was Deebo Samuel's rushing plus receiving yards. I think it was 87.5. I think, which might be. I haven't locked that in yet, but I think that's a pretty intriguing play as well. I think they're going to try to get Deebo the ball one way or another.
Yeah, it's just their best form of offense. Like it just makes the most sense with what they can do with him, like lining him up everywhere. Like anytime I feel like you see his numbers in the 50s, it's just like he could break that in like one or two plays where. You know he's going to get at least 8 to 10 looks the whole game. So,
yeah, for sure. All right, let's bring up the next community pick for tonight's action. I know things at I know things for. Niners are still stacked. Will be a battle, but I'm going to assume the rest of the tweet is but will emerge in the end. All right, there we go. Well, he does know things apparently, so maybe he knows that the 49ers will win tonight. We'll give our thoughts on that game here in just a moment, but I believe we have one more community pick for tonight. I think it's an MLB play. Sean Mitchelson at to Sox fan 24. Wisniewski over 5.5 strikeouts. 5 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts in debut against Cincinnati on September the 6th. 27 Ks and 27 innings pitched since being called up. Reds 22nd in Ks per 9. ERA of 2.33 in 5 starts, so expecting 6 or 7 innings out of him. Quite the breakdown. Peter, any thoughts on Wisniewski over 5.5 strikeouts?
Yankees, former Yankees prospect who they traded for Scott Efros at the deadline. I don't mind that, especially the Reds are really bad. I mean, they've lost, I think, 9 of 10 now. So, I mean, the other thing, though, you have to worry about with these young guys, like I get the idea that he's had a good ERA, might go 6 or 7. You never know sometimes with how long they want to let these kids go. So that would be the only pause I have on it. But 5.5 is not like a crazy number. If it was like 7.5, I would probably stay away. But 5.5, it's a little bit easier to get to.
Yeah, I like it. I have a pitcher prop for tonight. I'm not giving it on this show, but I like Rich Hill under his strikeout prop. Against the Rays tonight, Rays very good in strikeout percentage against lefties, if anyone else is looking for an additional pitcher prop. So there you go. You have one over from the Sox fan for Wisniewski, and I'm giving you an under for Rich Hill. A couple strikeout props for tonight. That does it for our community picks. Let's move on to our best bets for tonight. Let's start with a Monday Night Football game, and then we'll finish off with my MLB and your NBA preseason. You're insane for betting NBA preseason. But you are back.
I am back. I need my basketball fix back, man. I watched that Suns Adelaide 36ers game last night.
What happened there?
The Suns just gave them a bunch of jump shots, and they just made all of them. It was crazy.
Did the Suns try to win the game?
Sort of.
Or did they not care?
Like they played their starters like half the game. I mean, their bench did not look good yesterday, but it's also preseason, like which I'll talk about when I break down my play. Like you got to figure out which teams actually have like an incentive to play in the preseason and really try. But it's still a bad look to lose to an NBL team, no matter how you cut it. It's a terrible look.
I don't know. By the way, I don't know if you saw the start of the show or not, but if the Jaguars win the Super Bowl, I'll be getting a Jaguars tattoo.
I did see that. I think that's a lot safer than the Razorbacks bet we made.
It is a lot safer, but the Razorbacks was a little too close for comfort for me. But
it was.
So Jaguars are my NFL tattoo bet. I will have one for March Madness as well. I'm just getting crazy with it. One of these times I'm gonna eat my words and end up getting an actual tattoo. Luke Schill.
I think the one you should have done was if the Leafs win the cup, you get a Leafs tattoo.
Oh, well, I'm just going to do that.
Then you could root for it.
No, Yeah, that's not something I like. It's like I want that.
Okay. All right. Fair.
Luke Shill says, "Sup, boys? Hello, Luke. Do you have any best bets for tonight, my friend? We need some more picks. Let us know in the chat, and if anyone else is watching, let us know in the chat as well. Peter, why don't you start with your best bet for tonight's Monday Night Football game between the Rams and 49ers? We are on opposite sides.
Yeah, I'm going to give my side first. I'm taking the Rams. I bet them on the money line, plus 110. I think this is a game, and of course, wouldn't be a daily bet slip without the sirens in the background for me. But I think this is a spot. I'm not high on the 49ers. I watched them struggle mightily against the Broncos last week to move the football, facing a Rams defense that, on paper, it should be a good defense. I know they haven't looked as great. They look bad against the Bills and the Falcons to start the season. They look very good against Arizona last week. And I think the one here that Ian, and I don't love just going straight off of trends, but Kyle Shanahan's horrible as a favorite. He's 17-26-1 against the spread as a favorite, 9-15-1 against the spread when favored at home. And Sean McVay is a road dog, and his career is 10-4 against the spread. I just don't see, it feels like a trap. I just don't see why the 49ers deserve to be favored in this game. Trent Williams is out. That's the biggest thing that's going to help them stop this Rams pass rush. Maybe Matt Stafford loses this game for the Rams, but I trust him a lot more than Jimmy G. So give me the Rams to win tonight.
I do not agree with you on that one. I am going to take the 49ers in this one. A big reason why the Rams have had some issues protecting the passer. 23rd in QB sacked percentage heading into this season. Allowing a sack on 8.11% of Matthew Stafford dropbacks. That's not good, especially going up against the 49ers pass rush, which is 5th in QB sack percentage, getting the opposing quarterback down on 8.99% of their dropbacks also. And Erin gave this out earlier when she was describing why she's on the 49ers as well. First in opponent yards per play, this 49ers defense is so far this season. The best defense in the NFL in terms of yards per play. And the Rams, this defense is not the defense it used to be. They're a top 5 unit last year, all the way down to 14th in most defense or in opponent yards per play, but around middle of the pack in most defensive statistics through the first 3 weeks. Also, I have faith in Jimmy G. I don't care that he looked bad last week against the Broncos. I like Jimmy G. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't know why so many people hate on him. I'll take the 49ers minus 1.5.
I just feel like the Niners are due for some regression. You look at their first 3 games, it was Chicago in the rainstorm, then they played Seattle, and then they played the Broncos. All 3 teams who have been horrible the Seahawks did dominate the Lions, but that's the Lions yesterday. Teams have been bad on offense this year, so I just think the Rams are a much better offense. I don't know if I want to their defense might play well enough. I just also don't trust Jimmy G to put up the points, but obviously that's why we're on different sides.
All right. Fair enough. If the 49ers win, will you get a 49ers tattoo?
No way.
All right. Luke Schill did give us some picks. He's thinking Brewers run line tonight. He's getting a little MLB action.
I like that a lot.
Remind me, who are the Brewers playing?
So they're playing Arizona. I wrote this preview up today, so that's why they're playing Arizona. Tommy Henry's on the mound. He's given up 7, 5, and 5 runs his last 3 starts. Just getting absolutely shelled. Young kid. And the Brewers have to win if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. I think they have to win out, and the Phillies have to lose out for them to get that last wild card spot. So I like them in this spot against a bad pitcher.
And he is also on Cam Akers under, and Allen Robinson under. Hey, Rob, under. Well, interesting, Luke. We are on the same side for one of those picks as well. I'll give that out in a second. But Peter, why don't you give out your prop bet for tonight that I believe you have?
Yes, sir. So I am taking Matt Stafford to throw a pick tonight, which kind of goes against my Rams money line bet. But I think whether they win or lose, he's probably going to throw a pick tonight. 3 starts against the 49ers since being traded to the Rams. Matthew Stafford has 5 interceptions. He's thrown 1 in each game, including the NFC Championship game last season. Should have thrown another one in that NFC Championship game if we don't want to forget the Jaquiski Tart drop in the middle of the field. And this year, Matt Stafford's just been bad to start the year. He's thrown 5 interceptions already. Obviously, didn't throw one last week, but kind of feels like he's due. I know Aaron talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. But I got him at minus 125. I bet it a little bit later in the morning. I think it's gone up since then. But I was debating between him or Jimmy G. I don't mind either one of these quarterbacks to throw an interception, but with the way that they've struggled to protect the passer, and Stafford just sometimes he's due for like just a random wild throw. So I think he throws a pick tonight.
All right. I certainly don't hate that. He's certainly a guy to throw an interception now and again. My prop bet for tonight, I'm on the same wavelength here as our friend Luke in the chat. I'm also going to take Cam Akers under 42.5 rushing yards tonight. He had a pretty good game against the Cardinals last week, 61 yards on 12 carries, but much tougher test tonight against the 49ers defense. San Francisco ranks third in the NFL in opponent yards per carry, keeping them to just 2.8 yards per rush. I also don't really know what's going to happen with this Rams backfield because Darrell Henderson got a ton of carries in week one, and then kind of Cam Akers is taking over. Like, I think they're just going to go with a hot hand. If Darrell Henderson ends up being the guy tonight, Cam Akers, I don't even think will carry the ball enough to hit the over on this total. So, and if I think the 49ers are going to win, that means a negative game script for the Rams. That means less running of the football. So I will take Cam Akers under 42.5 rushing yards tonight.
Don't mind that one at all. That backfield's so tough to figure out. You're right. Because Henderson only saw like 6 carries last week, but he was leading the backfield the first 2 weeks. It's very – Sean McVay is maddening if you have either of those guys in fantasy too.
I also like sneaky little play, like kind of like Darrell Henderson anytime touchdown score, though, because anytime there's a running back by committee situation, I just like taking the player that has longer odds to score a touchdown. And that's Darrell Henderson. So, and he already scored once already this season. So,
yeah,
there you go. Let's switch to other sports. NBA preseason, Peter. You have a bet for tonight's NBA preseason action for anyone who wants to bet on that.
Yes, sir. So NBA preseason, a lot of stuff that goes into betting it just because like you can't just blindly bet. So my first recommendation is make sure you are always checking the injury reports because guys will just get randomly ruled out and it can completely swing a line, swing a bet. So I locked this one in earlier because John Wall, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George are all expected to play tonight for the Clippers. So I'm taking the Clippers -7 against the Blazers. And one of the big reasons why, and I think another reason when you're betting preseason, these benches, a lot of teams, obviously their starters aren't going to play the whole game. We saw what the Suns happened to the Suns against the Adelaide 36ers the other night, where their bench played the majority of the game. The bench struggled. The bright side for the Clippers, they're the deepest team in the NBA. And when you talk about like how many NBA quality players they have on their team, like their bench goes like 10, 12 guys deep. Sure, they might sit a veteran like Nick Batum or Marcus Morris tonight, but they go extremely deep. And you look at the Blazers bench, it's not as deep. They have a lot of young guys, Keon Johnson, Shaedon Sharpe, Jabari Walker, Trendon Watford, who are probably going to play tonight because they're trying to see what they have. Damian Lillard is supposed to play for the Blazers, but you look back to last year's first preseason game, he only played 18 minutes. So if Dame's only going to play a handful of minutes in this game, and the Clippers, even if they do the same with their starters, I like their bench a lot more than I like the Blazers bench. Young guys are way more volatile. So I'll lay the points with the Clippers here. I think there's other spots where you can on the board today where you can look at underdogs, but I just think trusting a team that has a ton of vets, that has something to play for, like Norman Powell's in a battle for the starting shooting guard position. There's other guys who are in positional battles, Reggie Jackson and John Wall for the starting point guard job. Like there's guys that are going out there that actually like have something to prove in this training camp. And I think that matters a lot more. That's why I think they'll cover tonight.
There you go. Clippers -7 against the Blazers for some NBA preseason action. I'm looking at Major League Baseball, and I'm going to fade my very own Toronto Blue Jays. Listen, our playoff spot's locked up, so if I'm fine fading them, especially because Jose Barrero starts tonight. And I do not know why the Toronto Blue Jays are favored in a game that Jose Barrios is starting in. He is an absolute bum, and he is going to cost us in the playoffs. I know we were going to get eliminated in the playoffs because of this guy. He hasn't allowed fewer than 5 hits in a game since July 31st. No pitcher in Major League Baseball has allowed more hits and more earned runs this season than Jose Barrios. Now he has to face an Orioles team that's 10th in OPS since September 1st. And even if he survives in this start, Toronto's bullpen hasn't been great either. 16th in bullpen ERA over the last month. And Dean Kramer starts for the Orioles, and he's been much better at home. 2.67 ERA at home compared to a 3.63 ERA on the road. So I will gladly back the Orioles +110 underdog since my Jays tonight.
Do you want Barrios in the playoff rotation?
No.
So who's your ideal Jays playoff rotation then?
Oh, jeez.
That's what I was thinking about. I can't think of 4 guys if he's not in it.
No, we don't have a fourth. That's the issue. We don't have a fourth.
Because otherwise it would be like Mitch White or Kikuchi, right?
Well, Kikuchi hasn't started for a while, so yeah, it'd be Mitch White or Berrios would be the fourth guy. I mean, Alek Manoah and Kevin Gausman, sure.
Yeah, that's great. And who's the third?
Ross Stripling, I believe, is that the guy who's been starting for them recently? So I think he'd be number 3, and then they may as well put Mio as the fourth guy. They just they needed to, like, they have to win their Alek Manoah and Kevin Gausman starts, or else they're screwed. Yeah. All right, gonna fade the Blue Jays. So let's go ahead and bring up the recap graphic here for all of our picks. I'm on 49ers -1.5, under 42.5 Cam Akers rushing yards. Orioles +110 against the Jays. Rams +110 against the 49ers. Your picks, Peter: Matt Stafford to throw an interception, and the Clippers -7 against the Blazers and some NBA preseason action. And the poll results are in, and the poll is backing the Los Angeles Rams +1.5. So there you go. They are on your side, Peter. How do you feel about that?
I don't think the community's letting me down today. I feel good about this one.
All right. Well, there you go. We'll see. That is the end of our show. We got a big day tomorrow, my friends. Early read, 1 p.m. Eastern, with Reed Wallach and Mike Calabrese. I apologize, Mike, for mispronouncing your name, but I can't pronounce anyone's name. So that is at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Be sure to check that out, because Reed has been crushing it with his college football picks so far this season. And then tomorrow, Reed will be pulling double duty, because he'll be back on Daily Betslip with myself at 5 p.m. Eastern. I imagine we'll talk some baseball. We might talk some football. I don't know what we'll talk about tomorrow night. Maybe some NBA preseason.
That's gonna be fun. That's what I'm talking about, man. We got NBA preseason coming up. Tuesday, Wednesday, last 2 days of the regular season for baseball too. So
that's right.
Get those baseball bets in while you can.
Yeah, and then playoff start. Can't wait. So excited, because it's my Blue Jays finally get back to the postseason. It's been a little while since I've been able to watch Blue Jay playoff baseball. I went back last year. They won like 92 games or something last year and missed the playoffs.
Yeah, they got super unlucky last year. The AL wild card was insane, man. It was insane.
Yeah, so there you go. There is our show. Thank you so much for watching. Peter, final thoughts.
Let's go Rams. Let's go Rams.
Let's go Niners. Gamble or bless everyone. What's that?
One of us is going to be right tonight.
One of us is going to be – unless the 49ers win by 1.
Okay, yeah.
That's a disaster scenario.
That would be a disaster scenario, yeah. Oh, man.
All right. Maybe the folks at home should be betting exact result, 49ers win by 1. We'll see. All right. Thank you all for watching. Good luck with your bets tonight. We will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.